Go ahead.
We are back at tantalknetwork.com. This is the Chapter Drop Wednesday Night Live. We're here every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. And if you want to join in this love train, please do it 727-441-3000. You can check out this show on tantalknetwork.com. It's on a bunch of radio stations, AM 1340, AM 1350, AM 1400, and 106.1 as well. And I am so honored and happy that Miriam Putnam has joined me for the first time on our Wednesday night show. Miriam, are you there?
Woo! Thank you for having me, Steve. It's so nice to be on here with you.
Yes. Say hello to all your Florida peeps out there. And you do amazing work. Maybe you could share a little bit for those folks that don't know what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a mental health coach, specifically a mental health advocate. So I help a lot in the area of human rights abuses that unfortunately still occur. And I help a girls' home called Miracles Outreach. And so we're starting the first ever wellness program to help the girls there get a healthier body so their mental health improves. So really excited about that.
And you're based in Florida, and I kind of bebop back and forth between New York and Florida, but you've been going to California, coming back to Florida. So you are traveling the country as well.
Yeah, I bebop around just like you, Steve. It's good. We're representing for the whole U.S.
That's right. That's right. But what really got you into the whole empowerment, focus and really advocating for others?
Well, Steve, unfortunately, I lost my mom when I was younger. Well, let's see, about 5-6 years ago now. And I grew up experiencing the broken mental health system. And my mom was diagnosed with a few different mental illnesses. And I grew up watching the abuse that she would go through with either the hospitalizations or the drugs that really didn't do much good for her. And I swore to, myself and the public that I was going to do something about it and change it for the better, because I really didn't want other families to experience what our family went through. It was a very hard time.
When you say it was a hard time, what specifically was the biggest difficulty that you faced back then?
Let's see. That is a poignant question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I mean, it's multifaceted, unfortunately. Like, I don't know how I can actually pin my finger on the hardest thing. The hardest thing for me personally is different than what it would be systemically for the family and the family unit, But for me, it was accepting the treatment that she had to go through.
Right.
Watching like how hard that was for her and how she wasn't on board with it.
At the time, did you find yourself, now you're doing amazing advocacy and empowering others. Did you find yourself back then not at that point, or were you just kind of, in the throes of it and kind of learning what this is all about and how it affected you? And did you know that you were going to turn around one day and help others?
I always had a plan of helping others. I didn't totally know that I was going to grow up and be a mental health advocate until experiencing the hardship and watching the abuse. But yeah, I just knew it wasn't right. It just didn't sit well with me. It didn't make sense that my mom wouldn't like the psychiatric diagnosis or the medications that were given to her or the treatment in the mental hospitals. And then she would roller coaster a lot, right? She would not want to take the medicine, or she would take the medicine and it had terrible, terrible side effects, right? Because the medicine really actually hurts the body and it masks the condition that's going on. So yeah, I just kind of swore that I was going to do something about that.
And how, at the time, how were you with the other family members? Were they going through this similar kind of experience, or did you find yourself, you were isolated in what was happening?
I was a little more isolated than other family members, just because I was pretty black and white about the picture. I always was kind of black and white about it. I was always searching for holistic mental health options, holistic doctors, other ways to do the treatment, other techniques that could be used. I was always searching. My family went through a really hard time accepting it and dealing with it, but I kind of was on a little bit of an island because I'm such a truth seeker.
Right. And did that make it more difficult for you? And when you look back on it, is that the foundation to the work that you're doing now, your experience that you went through with your mom?
Yeah, definitely. Completely, wholeheartedly.
And how today, explain exactly what you do for others at this point.
Well, I will coach people on what's going on in their life and try to get them to choose a holistic doctor that can improve their body health, and then go over their goals and purposes in life and do spiritual counseling with them to help them find their truth that they're looking for. Because like at the root of it, there's always some sort of, uh, you know, an issue that somebody isn't confronting in their life or that they're having hardship with. And so it helps a lot to get with somebody that really wants to help you get to the root of things and then figure that out, So that's really what I love to do.
Right. Well, if you want to join in here, this is the Chapter Shop Wednesday Night Live. It's 727-441-3000, or you can check it in tantalknetwork.com. We're broadcasting live on the radio in Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater. This is the 17th rated station or jurisdiction, geographical area that these radio airwaves go out to. So, Miriam, why radio at this point? Why do you feel that radio and live streaming is the place to be right now to get your point across or to empower others?
Well, I really think that there's a lot of mental health reform that needs to be done as far as the mental health treatment that's going on in Florida and then across the United States. And, with you and I teaming up together and working on mental health reform together, it just lets people talk about the issues a little bit more and talk about what can be done about it, right? I mean, there's a lot of laws that need to be passed, and I like to be affiliated with people that are working to uphold human rights in the field of mental health because it's so vital.
That's right. And I feel like as a psychologist, I could do counseling, one-on-one or group counseling. However, if you have a microphone or a camera, you have the potential to reach out more. So I've been on this journey media-wise with radio and cable TV stuff for almost 9 years now. It's something that I didn't always do when I was younger, but I was interested in it and I picked up on it. And I got to say that providing a platform for other advocates or empowering others with all the different topics that have been covered on our Chapters Network. Chapters Community Support Services is a 501c3 that we provide a platform for others. We have 70% of our staff have some sort of challenge or adversity that they're coping with or going through something that is challenging to them. So we provide their hosts on our network, their videographers, photographers, engineers, graphic people. We have stagehands. We have all different people. But for me, it's very important to continue the empowerment effort. And there's what we do: network, support, collaboration, and platform. Again, this is Chapters Community Support Services Network. We're here every Wednesday night from 7 to 9. And Miriam and I are co-hosting because your journey with your mom is kind of similar to the journey that I had with my mom. And I think when we first met a couple months back, we were talking about that, and little did we know we're doing a show together.
I know, it's pretty amazing. And Steve, Just before you go on, I just want to say that what you're doing for the public with the radio show and with the nonprofit and supporting people is it represents such a beacon of hope, right? Because I mean, one of the things that I stand for and that I try to help others with is that there's always a way out. Right? I mean, we can always do something about a situation. There's always something that can be done about it. So I really love the fact that you are being a beacon of hope for people and talking about positive ways that people can solve problems, and then highlighting advocacy. It's just beautiful what you're doing.
Well, thank you, Miriam. I think together we're going to reach to newer heights. And we had a discussion preparing for this show today, earlier in the day. And I have lost my uncle. My uncle, he was my mom's brother. Mm-hmm. And basically, they had the same medical illness together. I mean, my mom was younger, my mom, Rosalind Vaccaro. I grew up in the foster care system because my mom had MS and she had a psychiatric diagnosis back then. My father, her husband, had left abruptly, and she did not have the internal resources to cope with that sudden shock and trauma that had happened. Myself and my younger brother were with her, and almost immediately she didn't want to live. And it started the cycle of her in and out of psychiatric hospitals and us going into foster homes. And she was over medicated with Haldol and different drugs that sedated her and caused a lot of difficult situations and tardive dyskinesia. But I lost my uncle, her brother, and that's him and that's my brother if you watching at home. But my uncle, he was a hero. He tried to step in back then when my mom could not cope and we were young back then. That's myself and my uncle, and he passed, and it's a very sad thing because he was an advocate himself. Him and his wife, my Aunt Lori, were advocates, and together they tried to help my uncle. They tried to help my mom over the years, but unfortunately, my uncle has passed on. But I think it's really a challenge to families that are coping with mental illness.
Yes,
Right. And sometimes they're not being empowered. They don't understand how to cope with it. And I think that sometimes they're misled. Is that the experience that you face sometimes?
Oh my gosh, tremendously. And, I know, Steve, we talked about this earlier, and, I know you pretty much kind of felt like you were on an island too, similar to me. Like, wow, how do I deal with this situation? What do I do? How am I going to deal with this? I don't know if that's exactly the way you would describe it, but that's definitely kind of what I went through. And yeah, I mean, part of the reason why I do what I do is to help bring the family unit together and try to help families so they can avoid the experience that our family went through. I mean, we probably spent over $500,000 on mental health treatment that didn't work, right? My mom died in the end. And so it just pains me to know that families are going through that right now and they're like at loss, right? They're like, what do we do?
Right. And I think everybody's quick for pharmacological intervention, I think, and, the quick fix for everything. And I think we have to be careful when we go down that road because sometimes it's a counseling, sometimes it's really the efforts of clinicians or treatment team members to help with the family, help with them cope. Because back then, my mom did not get the services that were needed. And I think for a woman back then, it wasn't taken seriously. And I think that it was difficult to see as a child and also, going through the foster care system. But my mom is the only reason why I do what I do. And I often think back at those times that when I was younger and they were heartache, they were traumatic, they were really hard each and every day to bounce around the different foster homes and shelters. And I know we've talked about that because we just did a fundraiser recently in Florida for the Joshua House, working with the foster care system. You're working with young women. And I think now more than ever, what's going on around the world, we need to kind of bridge together and bond together in the hopes to empower more and more folks.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I love the fact that you're doing that and the fact that you just did that charity event to raise awareness and raise funds for the foster home down here. And I love that we're going to work together more and more as far as foster kids, because foster kids, unfortunately, are the forgotten kids. And they're still children, right? They're still children that need love and need protection and need to be guided towards a better future. And currently right now, I think it's about 70% of foster kids end up in jail at some point. And that's not good for us to have that reality with kids in our country.
Right. And Miriam, what is the biggest challenge you face now with helping families and individuals, kind of see things a little differently or be more educated or more empowered to maybe make a better decision or a decision that they understand. I mean, what's the biggest challenge you face?
Yeah, I think it's probably just the system, the way that the system is set up right now. I mean, the healthcare system and the mental health system's a little bit of a, I don't know, unfortunately, there's a little bit too much drugs, and then the insurance companies are controlling that, right? So we can like follow the money. So I think the biggest challenge is that sometimes when I say things, I am saying something that could possibly contradict or oppose something that a doctor has said. And I've talked to a lot of mental health professionals, and usually almost one for one, it is that insurance companies are sort of controlling the doctor, so to speak. And so it interrupts therapy that the person is trying to go through, right?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I'm so happy, when we first met, we never dreamed that we'd be doing a show together, and we kind of started to talk, and I learned a little bit more about, what you do and the passion that you have and how you do it. And you are extremely terrific listener. And I think that's so important, to listen to what the other person's going through, to listen and not be quick to make decisions or quick to judge. Sometimes you can't resolve something right then and on the spot. You have to listen very carefully to what that person is thinking and feeling.
Definitely. It's so important as far as like helping somebody navigate their way out of a traumatic situation, right? A lot of times when mental health issues strike a family or an individual, it's pretty traumatic for each person involved. So calmness is definitely in our favor.
Yes, yes. And this show, it might evolve into different bits and pieces over time. Right now, it's important. It's kind of like a variety show. So
Yeah,
today we have a bunch of great guests. I mean, first of all, we have Georgia Woodbine is going to join us real soon. She's an author, inspirational speaker, and we also have Jill Martin, who is Billy Martin's ex-wife. Back in the day, Billy Martin, for you baseball Yankee fans, he was one of the greatest managers that ever lived, and especially in New York. And that's Billy and Jill. We're going to hear from her. But we also have a talented musician performer. Can you talk to us about that?
Jierra Clark is fantastic. I mean, she has tons of experience in the music industry, and look at her. She is just absolutely beautiful. Her songs are incredibly well written and inspirational. She's involved in, helping lead a freedom movement, so to speak. She really wants to open people's eyes and open their hearts. And let me tell you, her voice is definitely a voice that can do that.
That's right. We're going to hear her voice. We'll hear her very shortly. And I know she's got a new single out. We're going to talk about that. But her music, I love when lyrics really hit home, because sometimes these lyrics out there are not really encouraging or supportive or positive. But we really got to hit home right now, especially how this country is so divided and how the world is divided. But before we get into all our guests, I definitely want to play a song in honor of my uncle, Uncle Stewart. To me, he's a hero. I know there's a lot of heroes out there, and Mariah Carey did an unbelievable song many years back, and Hero. It always stays with me. So we want people in the car to remember someone or think about someone in your life that's a hero to you. Check out the song, and maybe you want to call in after 727-441-3000. Mariah Carey, Hero.
There's a hero. If you look inside your heart, you don't have to be afraid of what you are. There's an answer if you reach into your soul, and the sorrow that you know will melt away. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. It's a long road when you face the world alone. One reaches out a hand for you to hold. You can find love if you search within yourself, and the emptiness you felt will disappear. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. Lord knows dreams are fun to follow, but don't let anyone tear them away. Hold on, there will be tomorrow. In time, you'll find the way. That a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. When you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. That a hero lies in you. That a hero lies in you.
That is the unbelievable Mariah Carey singing Hero. This is the Chapters Wrap Wednesday Night Live on tantalknetwork.com. If you want to join in, please do at 727-441-3000. 3.5 million people potentially can listen to this show, Miriam. And I got to tell you, seeing those pictures and hearing that song and reflecting on your life sometimes it gets difficult. So
Yeah, definitely. I hear you. But it's super sweet to honor your uncle and honor the people in our lives that are heroes, like everyday heroes that do the hard work for helping anyone else in our lives that are going through difficult times, right? Because it takes a team, right?
It definitely takes a team. And we have a hero on the line right now. Her name is Georgia Woodbine, and she's an amazing person. And we want to bring her right up onto the show right now because she's been waiting patiently, and she's going to start a new show on the network, Create the Life You Love, with Georgia Woodbine. Her and I know each other for many years now. She's been a guest on my radio show and cable TV shows back in New York. And Georgia, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Miriam, meet Georgia. Georgia, meet Miriam.
Hey, Georgia, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. How are you doing, Miriam?
Yeah, doing all right. And how about you, Georgia? You are just beautiful. I checked out your website and you are a rock star.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much.
So Georgia, we are on the live radio, Clearwater St. Petersburg, Tampa area in Florida. It's live streamed all over the
Wow.
place. Share a little bit about what you do so people know who you are.
So when people say, who is Georgia Woodbine, I could only say I am a lifestyle transformation coach. I share my personal experiences on my journey from, dealing with a lot of different obstacles, from health issues to job issues to relationship issues. And I basically share that and how I was able to transform my life and how I was able to use my setbacks as stepping stones. And so I believe that we all have a special gift, and that is the gift of choice. Even when unpredictable things are happening in life and so many changes happening, we have the ability to overcome obstacles.
Well, that's well said.
That's right.
Miriam, I mean, she's right up our alley, right?
Yes, definitely. Georgia, you're an inspiration to many, I'm sure. I really want to hear more about what you went through and how you learned to be a transformational coach.
Oh my gosh, I went through so much. I think the biggest issue for me was my health issues. And at the time when I was experiencing my health issues, I was at a job that I really didn't like because I was working like 12-hour days. I was overworked and underpaid. I was stressed. And I remember being in my cubicle at work and just passing out. And when I woke up, I was in the hospital. And I remembered like all these voices and just thinking about like how much I allowed that job to affect me physically. I think that sometimes in life people don't realize that when things are affecting you emotionally and mentally, that can also tap into affecting you physically.
Oh,
and
sure.
I believe that's what happened to me. So I remember going through that whole process, and I remember taking time off of work. I took some disability, and I remember them calling me saying, Georgia, when are you coming back to work? Because I think it was out for like 2 months or 3 months, and they're like, okay, you got to come back. You got to come back. And I remember the last call that they made to me, and I thought about it, and I said to myself, do I really want to go back to that? You know what I mean? Just like the same thing with the pandemic, that people have been going through transitions with their jobs and relationships, and it causes you to reevaluate situations and say, maybe the new normal is better than the old normal.
Right. Maybe it's better to leave that behind.
And I had to make a choice, and I made that choice not to go back to the job. And I think that was a big life-changing decision for me. And one of the things I teach as a life coach is, what is that one big thing you want to change? Because I think that, people think that they have all these goals and they want to attack everything at one time, but you have to focus on that one big thing in your life, that important thing, and tackle that first thing first, and then work on everything else after.
Well, that's great. That's such an important lesson. It is. It's fantastic.
That's right. This is Chapters Wrap Wednesday Night Live. You want to join this love train, please do it. 727-441-3000. You can check us out on tantalknetwork.com, AM 1340, AM 1350, and AM 1400 and 106.1. We're talking to author, inspirational speaker, Georgia Woodbine. And Georgia, I know we only have a few moments left, but we're flashing up your book covers there. For the radio people out there that are driving in their cars, rattle off each of your books.
Okay, so Total BS, which is about, people think it's total BS, but it's not the BS you're thinking. It's Body and Soul, and it's really about aligning yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and aligning yourself to live your best life. And it's so funny to piggyback off what you guys are talking about. Mental health is so crucial to taking care and protecting yourself, so that you can exceed in every other area in your life, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So it really focuses on not just how to get fit for life, but how to get fit in every area in your life, not just physically.
That's fantastic. I love the fact that you're going into the fact that we have a soul, right? That's wonderful.
That's right. And what are a couple other books that you have? And we have like 3 minutes, so we want to share that. And we're going to get you back on the show. We want to get those books out there for people to know.
Absolutely. I have How to Attract the Right Man into Your Life, which I wrote because I was struggling in relationships. And I have How to Choose Your Career Path, which is a book about how to look at all your gifts and talents and natural abilities and how to connect the dots. I have a book called Jewels of Inspiration and Reflections. It's more of like self-reflection and how to really go deeper into yourself to find out what it is that's going to make you happy. And then I have so many books I can't even think of them right now.
Well, we have to catch up, Miriam. I mean, Georgia has all these books. I'm just finishing up a book, but I got to keep up with her, Georgia.
I know.
And A Minute of Motivation. That's another book, just when you need it, too, right?
Just when you need it. And we all need that, don't we? I mean, even when we're motivated, we still need to get that boost to kind of refresh us. So it's so important. It's so important.
That's right. That's right. How can people contact you, get a hold of you, get some of your books or anything, or learn a little bit more about you?
Well, they can learn a little more about me by going to my website, www.georgiawoodbine.com, and they can hear a lot more from me on the new show on your network, Create the Life You Love with Georgia, and it's going to be interviewing guests, really just having people share their stories and be transparent about how they overcame certain obstacles in their life to live their best life. So people need to listen to that podcast because it's going to be a great podcast.
You know, I've been meaning to talk to you, Georgia. You've been on my mind, and I wanted to get you on the network, and I didn't know if you could say yes or no. I am so blessed and happy that you said yes, and I can't wait for you to share your advocacy, your empowerment, your professionalism to so many people out there. Thank you so much, Georgia.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Georgia.
Thank you. Have a great night. I mean, Miriam, and this is just one guest that we're going to have throughout these shows each and every week. That we're going to be here every Wednesday from 7 to 9 right here on the Tan Talk Network. You can check us out there, 727-441-3000. But we have a musical guest. Let's segue this song a little bit, and then maybe you could intro us, Miriam, with her.
All right, so we're going to put her song on now.
Yep,
Jierra Clark is going to join us.
Yeah, let's put a song on.
How many days, how many weeks, how many years gone by? How many lies, how many times will we realize? What will it take to stand up and say, enough is enough, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Sick and tired going back and forth the back with the sycophants telling me relax, go put on a mask. Whenever I ask how long will it last, another summer pass, ain't making tracks with the mandates they done passed, but harassers without the vax and they bash us until we up for the task. Can't take a seat, grab a bite to eat, hold down a job in the street, cause you need valid ID showing that the shots all done.
This is Jierra Clark, everyone.
The CDC
And she's a
recommend
fantastic artist.
with the ability to roam on the
This is called Fringe Minority. It's the most recent single that she has out. And she will share us the link for us so we can search it.
Government has a pour on us.
Jierra
President wish we dropped
Clark is
dead,
a
but I'm
fantastic
kept by the
artist.
Godhead.
So happy to have her on the show today.
By the truth on the way.
Yeah, let's bring her on. Hey, how are you? Yes. Beautiful music here.
Thank you. This one's actually called Enough is Enough.
I'm sorry?
Oh, that song's actually called Enough is Enough with Topher and the Marine Rapper.
Unbelievable. What inspires you to put out the music that you put out there?
That's a great question. I'm actually very recently an independent artist. I've been involved in quite a few record label deals my entire life. And as I saw things drastically changing in the world and certain things that greatly affected us starting in, 2020 to now, I decided that, I've always actually been a humanitarian and wanted to lend my voice to causes that I believed in. But after a while in the mainstream label kind of route of music, I didn't really have a place to communicate humanitarian messages. That's not what was wanted to be commercial. So now that I'm completely free and deciding to make the music that I want, I really wanted to make songs with the messages of empowerment and freedom and unity. So I actually just released my first completely independent music in January with a collaborative project with the Marine rapper. In fact, here's the album that we did, Culture War 2. And that one went straight to #2 on the charts. I had 3 songs on there. And then in February, did another song, that song you just heard called Enough is Enough with Topher, another artist. Here's the album. And we went straight to #1 on the chart. So it's been a good rocket ride since deciding to really sing what I want and have the courage to deliver the messages that I believe in. And it clearly was the right thing for me to do because it's been straight up and vertical since I made that choice.
Wow, Miriam, she's right up our alley here.
Oh my gosh, she's such a freedom fighter. I love Jierra. You are amazing. What a beautiful voice you have. And it's so great that you took a stand and decided to be on your own and go kind of against the grain and figure things out for yourself so you could stay true to yourself.
Yeah, and you know what? It seems like that's an easy choice to make. I think that it is for me, I would say spiritually and emotionally, but in all honesty, having to confront the possible repercussions financially and business-wise in the actual entertainment industry, it took me a while to make that choice. I mean, it took 2 solid years, and I'm just saying this to other people in case, people struggle every day with certain things that they may want to say but don't know how, or may want to get involved with certain things but are afraid to. And I say, we all have to take our own time and go down our own path on that, because I had other freedom fighting friends and they were, blazing all over social media right out of the gate. I was not. It took me 2 years of true soul searching, a lot of actual tears and emotion and fear to actually say, you know what, I'm not happy with the, where I am right now with the other route. And it's not bringing me joy. And also just the fact that I was afraid of losing some vision of a career that wasn't actually fully in existence at that time, because I had already kind of lost a label deal and stuff. So I was almost afraid of losing what I thought could happen instead of what was actually happening. So I started looking at people that were actually making things happen, and I aligned with them, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, wow. Bravo. Well done.
This is Chapters Rap Wednesday Night Live. We're talking to Jierra, who is now an independent artist. Was that a very scary thing right in January, or were you like ready to go with this and all systems go?
I think that by January, I was all systems go, but I'll tell you, I really had only made the decision in about October or November. And I kind of became, I was introduced to all these various different artists on social media and stuff. And I was watching what they were doing and watching what they were saying. And I've been in the mainstream industry my whole life. I really know how things work with regards to charting and success and what it takes. So the fact that I was seeing these artists actually topping the charts, completely independent, unfunded by the labels, and that they were, neck and neck with Adele and other rappers and other, like the top, and Encanto, our album, this one, 222, Topher's album that I was a guest artist on, it was sitting right under Disney's Encanto, and we don't have millions of dollars of advertising money behind us. So when I saw that, okay, so it's not being promoted like the other albums are. This is actually being fueled by the public, by real people that really do want to hear these messages. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, let's go.
Let the people vote for their favorite artists, right?
Yeah, but with the first couple posts I started making, I will not lie, I was actually scared. I thought I might lose friends or acquaintances or business relationships, but I really had to look at that for myself and just say, if that's as fickle as those relationships were, for me just to stand in what I believe in and communicate that, then I don't actually need that. And I'm not extremely like outspoken or rude about my beliefs. I don't put others down necessarily for what they believe in, but since there are so many different schools of thoughts these days, and many people that do speak very strongly about what they believe in, I was like, well, then I should be allowed to speak about what I believe in as well. I just do it in my own way.
Yeah.
And you do it in a great, beautiful way. Now, lyrically, do you write your lyrics, and how do you collaborate with other performers, other musicians to get that message out there like that?
That's a great question. So I spent my life when I was also in the actual label system and stuff. I'm very grateful. There were some very negative experiences, but I'm also grateful for some very positive ones, and one being that I was ghost writing and ghost producing. Those are terms in the music industry where I was helping to collaborate on other people's music without putting my name on it. And that actually offered me the ability to learn so many different genres and work with so many different people. So honestly, I just get into communication with the artist, and say, where are you right now? Like, what are you feeling? What is your vision? Do you have any references of kind of stuff that that might sound similar or in a certain vein? And honestly, I just do my research. And really try to connect with the person, and then just kind of be a vehicle if I'm collaborating to what do they want. So that's been very positive. And luckily, I think that if I were to talk, encouraging or talking to other artists, I would say, work at your craft, because now I can write a song, sure, in 20, 30 minutes, maybe. Sometimes it takes longer, not every song, but that didn't come right away. I used to write, I was being conditioned into writing a full song every single day at one point with one label I was working with. So just to actually like get those ideas out and be able to kind of get them out quickly and know what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it in a way that could be commercially accepted.
Is that stressful to put out a song once a day? I mean, the lyrics to come up with that, it must be challenging at times.
At that time, with that company that I was working with, I did find that challenging. I think it kind of has two sides to it. One, if I were just to look at it as a training drill, I thought that there was value in it. But also when it comes to actually being very connected and actually coming from a true and emotional place, it did lose that sometimes, because it sometimes became very mechanical. So now I say that for myself, I've kind of taken the best of both worlds. I learned from that experience, but I also know now how to really, take real inspiration and what I really am feeling and what I'm going through, and kind of blend those two worlds together.
It's so fantastic. Jarrah, I think you've because of all your experiences in the industry and now becoming independent and sticking with your integrity, it's almost like you can be an advocate for other artists.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Miriam and I know each other very well, and I love her very dearly. So I know the interview's not about all about you, Miriam, right now, but I hope that people really know more about you at some point. But yes, my goal, there's probably not enough time to get into the depths of it. And again, there were positive experiences in the label system, but I will say there were a lot of extremely negative experiences as well. I think that there are many more things going on behind the scenes that people are not fully aware of. So for me, I don't want anyone else kind of going through what I went through in that system. At some point, I hope to gain enough knowledge and enough power within the industry, just even independently or with other collaborators, to be able to truly empower other artists and give them the knowledge that they need to be able to just put music out there and keep their integrity in, and also be able to survive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
This is the Chapters Out Wednesday Night Live. We're here every Wednesday from 7 to 9. My co-host Miriam Putnam. I'm Steve Vaccaro. We're talking to Jierra. And Jierra, you have a new single out there. Let's talk about that a little bit before we play it.
Oh, yes. I'm very excited about this one. It's actually called Fringe Minority, which was inspired by the events that occurred in Canada when people took a stand for their own medical freedom. And I just loved that term because I kind of, I think that there are freedom fighters in every corner of the world, and that can mean so many things to different people. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything even political or very black and white as sometimes we see things, but honestly, just fighting for any kind of freedom, that you believe in. Freedom for yourself, freedom for your family, freedom for your religious rights, your political rights, your humanity, whatever it is. So I wrote this song, Fringe Minority, to kind of represent that anyone fighting for any kind of freedom on any level around the world. I think this was I meant it to be a real anthem for everyone and be very encouraging. So it was, when you hear it, oh, sorry,
how long did it take you to write this and to put it out there?
This one took me a minute because when I first had the idea, I knew that I wanted a very particular sound to the music. And although I am able to produce music to a certain degree, I knew that what I wanted was beyond me. So it actually took me a couple weeks just to find the piece of music that I wanted, and then obviously made a deal to use that piece of music. And then in writing it, parts of it were very fast, but honestly, it kind of kept evolving as I was recording it. And I like to tell this one little story too to independent artists. This one had me in tears several times because the technical challenges to record this particular song, there are 600 background vocals or so in this song. So one actual recording session will only hold, let's say, 125 vocals or something like that. So I had to actually make different entire recording sessions for each little section of the song, and then kind of, squish them down into one track, and then compile all those tracks together like a Tetris puzzle. And I did a lot of Googling and sometimes crying at 2 o'clock in the morning going, I don't know how to fulfill this vision. But eventually I did, and I am very proud of it because it turned out I'm very, very proud of it.
Oh, we're going against the top of the hour. Before we play that song, how can people get a hold of you or get a hold of your music?
Yeah, so this song is actually available on a site called Bandcamp, which is playing in a band and you're in a camp. And it's Jierra, my name, JIERRA.bandcamp.com. And they can actually purchase the song there. I do encourage people to actually purchase the music because we independent artists do not make really barely anything off of the streaming platforms. So what I do encourage people to do is go ahead and buy the music, and then if you have trouble playing it on your phone or your computer or wherever in your car, you can actually stream my music just by looking up Jierra on every single streaming platform. That's Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, all of it. But if you purchase it first, that helps me, and then stream it to your heart's content, whatever is easiest for you.
Well, Jierra, thank you so very much. We're going to listen to the song, and then we have the top of the hour news report. So you have to come back on the show, right, Miriam?
Yes, definitely, Jarrah. Hopefully she'll join us again. And real fast, before we play that song, I just want to say that if any of you out there listening right now are interested at all, I really hope that you get to hear Jierra sing live, because let me tell you, every single time I hear her sing live, I tear up because she is so feeling and communicating every single word of a song that she's singing that you can't help but be moved by her voice.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Well, then I'll just say 2 more things, 10 seconds or less. My next event is actually with Candace Owens in Florida on April 9th. And you can look up Blexit. Oh, good. They have it right there. Wow, you guys, you are so cool. There's that event. I'll be performing with Topher, who is amazing. And then if you want to find me, I'm all over social media. Some things I'm kind of, getting on even more platforms, but I'm the easiest way to find me. You can find me on Instagram, just my name, Jierra. Also Facebook, Twitter, all that, Jarrah, and YouTube, Jarrah. So
okay,
there you go.
Jarrah, thank you so very much. Let's take a listen, and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
down the road real soon. God bless.
Thank you so much. That's freedom. Yeah, that's a different song. That one's Freedom, but Fringe Minority is a different song.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to Fringe Minority at the end of the show. We're going to go over with that, and then this way we can play it in its entirety. So, Jarrah, thank you so very much for joining us. Let's roll that song, and we'll take you to the news at the top of the hour.
Yes, this is a great song too.
Devices were made and I never will cave. Yeah, I'm bearing these arms, but I don't hibernate. And I go hyperdrive and I do not evade. When it's stupid invade and I brand is my blade. This is a holy war, this is for glory. And this is the reason my people was fighting for. It was the knocking from put on your uniform. This is the coldest war, another culture war. This is the sequel. Listening all of my people. All we have left is a shred of our freedom.
All we have left is a shred of our freedom. Thou shalt not threaten nor shred on our freedom. We will defend till the end our freedom. 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 All we have left is a shred of our freedom. Thou shalt not threaten nor shred on our freedom. We will defend till the end our freedom. Freedom! Freedom!
To the bleed, our troops had to leave loved ones, family, and join military. Red, white, and the blue is all that I bleed. No yellow with me, no white flag is seen, no surf in the ring to these enemies here or overseas. So don't tread on me. Got boots on my feet for the CRPENT. No sir, no snakes destroy you. Now the G.I. Joe was fighting cobras. Now quiet girl done raise the voice. So brave all the elements and make some noise. No, you can't avoid they pray and take the prey out of girls and boys. Today we face an evil ploys. It's for the future, for the mighty storm. So we gotta weather through it, keep and stay the course. I mean,
all we have left is a shred of our.
It was awesome. So fantastic.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
WZHR, Zephyr Hills.
FM 104.3.
Listen.
Known for his blockbuster films, but we've learned that after what he did Sunday at the Oscars, he was actually asked to leave, but he refused. Then he won the Best Actor statue. The latest from Steve Futterman in Los Angeles.
We may finally hear from Chris Rock tonight. That's Rock arriving at a Boston theater ahead of his performance this evening, his first since Sunday's Oscar slap. Many expect him to talk about what took place. Today, one of the Oscar hosts, Wanda Sykes, spoke out.
It was sickening. I physically felt ill.
She was on the Ellen DeGeneres show. The disciplinary proceedings against Will Smith are now underway. The Academy, in a statement, calls Smith's attack a deeply shocking, traumatic event and has apologized to Chris Rock. Steve Futterman, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Severe storms are battering the South with strong winds and pounding rains. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards says the impact of the storm system is already being felt in his state.
Approximately 60,000 customers are out there without power at the moment, and that number goes up every time we check because the wind's blowing trees into lines and so forth.
Now to the war in Ukraine, where we have learned Russia and Ukraine will resume peace talks on Friday online. It was just yesterday that Russia said it would scale back in some places, but CBS's Deborah Patta explains that is not the case everywhere.
The war is still ongoing on the Eastern Front in Donbass, and this is not a ceasefire. So the Ukrainian government is worried that Russian troops that remain near Kiev will in fact prevent them from sending all their forces to Donbass to assist on that front line.
There has been a partial settlement in the Surfside, Florida building collapse that killed 98 people last year. Our Peter King has been following that.
This is solely a property settlement for the people who owned 136 condos in the Champlain Towers South building. A judge has approved the $83 million settlement to be divided among owners for their homes and for other items lost in the collapse. The judge says this is contingent on the completion of the sale of the land where the tower stood. He says the actual amount could be higher. This does not include wrongful death claims, which will be settled later. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
When your team does well, so do you. That's what's happening to Coach Shaheen Holloway, who helped lead St. Peter's University to the Elite Eight. Now, a fellow New Jersey school, Seton Hall University, says it's hiring the 45-year-old. It was the first time a number 15 seed reached the Elite Eight in the NCAA. On Wall Street, the Dow lost 65. The NASDAQ was down 177. This is CBS News.
Dell's semi-annual sale has arrived. Save up to 45% on Dell business computers with Windows 11 Pro and get an easy start to your workday. Just call 877-ASK-DELL.
Did you ever think about hosting your very own radio show? Here's how.
Hey, Tampa Bay, did you know you can have a 1-hour program on the Tan Talk Radio Network for less than the cost of one 60-second announcement on many Tampa Bay stations? That's right. We'll put you on the radio for less than the cost of one 60-second announcement on many stations. Check it out today. Use your program to promote yourself, your business, or someone else's business. Call Lola Jean, the broadcast queen, 727-510-7622. That's 510-7622. Call Lola Jean now to check out your Tan Talk Network program. In addition to network radio, we'll stream your program in audio and video all over the world. Call Lola Jean now, 727-510-7622. Call today. Your network 1-hour program can start tomorrow. Broadcast your message in audio and video on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Come back for the magic. Come back for the laughter. Come back to the Bay Area Renaissance Festival. Our 8 stages are filled with hilarity and delight. All your favorites and some new surprises. 100 artisans make this a world-class marketplace, overflowing with beautiful treasures. And the food, oh, the food is fit for a king, with treats to tease and tempt every palate. The Bay Area Renaissance Festival, weekends, February 19th through April 3rd. Visit BayAreaRenFest.com for directions and tickets.
Caregivers find the support they need on Connecting Caregivers Radio with Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregiver. Heard every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m., Linda and her caring and knowledgeable guests will bring you education, information, and resources, as well as a shoulder for caregivers. That's Connecting Caregivers Radio with Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregiver, where you can find help and hope every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Ain't it good? Living that healthy lifestyle show. It's divine. It's your empowerment time.
Don't miss the Living a Healthy Lifestyle show with your favorite holistic health coach, Carrie Kay, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hello there, Tampa Bay. This is former NFL and college football coach Jimmy Johnson. Listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They can sure use the attention.
And this is former Major League Baseball player, Hall of Famer Wade Boggs. I also hope you listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They can darn sure use the money.
Hi there. This is marine wildlife artist and conservationist Dr. Guy Harvey. Please listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They need to feel worthy.
Tune in Saturdays from 3 to 5 p.m. for Miss Sarah's Dynamic Gospel Power Show. That's 2 hours of great gospel music every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. All brought to you by the Ozona Pig Restaurant in Ozona. Yes, that's every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. It's Miss Sarah's Dynamic Gospel Power Show. Tune in on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Russo's New York Style Pizza. We have some exciting news. Every Thursday at 8 p.m., we have open mic night for comics. Come out and try your comedy and enjoy some amazing food. Now, one of the winners will get $50 cash from the owner. And the address is 2233 Gulf to Bay Boulevard in Clearwater between Belcher and Gulf to Bay Boulevard in the Public Shopping Center. We'll see you there at Russo's New York Style Pizza every Thursday. Come a little early and sign up if you'd like to try open mic night at 7:30 p.m.
Tampa Bay's Tan Talk. Entertaining and informative radio for the Sunshine State.
I have every reason to believe that we will have a great relationship and that we're going to go back to a winning basic formula and bring back a championship to New York. And you've got to go with a winner in order to get a winner. And as you look at the records of the various managers, there are only 2 or 3 managers in baseball today active who have winning records from the time they started managing. And Alfred Martin is one of those fellas.
Had a lot of long talks with George. A lot of guys are going to wonder how we're going to get along. Like, I'm sure you're going to ask me that question later on. Well, we've straightened a lot of things out. They'll, for instance, I'll be handling all the trades.
What do you mean?
There'll be no phone calls in the dugout.
What do you mean? That is not, that's not right. I'm handling the trades.
That isn't the way we say
I
it,
have the right to call you in the dugout.
And that's not the way it's going to be, George.
You're damn right it is, and if you don't like it, you're fired.
You haven't hired me yet.
That they did right before Billy was hired for the 4th or 5th time. I lost track by then, but he was one of the baseball's greatest managers, and we have his former wife on the line right now, Jill Martin. Jill, are you there?
I am. How are you tonight?
Thank you so very much for joining here at Chapters Wrap Wednesday Night Live with my co-host, Miriam Putnam. And when you see that footage or when you hear that footage, what does that remind you of back then?
Well, instantly, I recognized George's voice, and, it was just, they did a lot. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that a lot of what was put out there for the world to see. I'm not going to say it was an act, but it was to excite people. It was to bring people together. It was to bring people to Yankee Stadium. It was to promote baseball, and a certain percentage of it was. So obviously I know that, that skit was kind of pre-planned already. And so, and that's what it did, because you're asking it right now, and a lot of people have seen it through the years. A very exciting time in baseball.
That's right. That's right. Now, you were married to Billy Martin, and talk about your relationship back then with Billy during the heyday when he was managing.
Well, he was pretty busy, those were long days. And, Billy had a very sharp and intense mind. And, when he went to try to do something, whether it was baseball or plant a tree or go on an adventure, he went full out. And so he was very intense. He loved to win. He loved to make the other side sweat. And he just loved everything he did. You know how thankful it is to do something that you love every day and be successful at it. That's right.
That's right. And being in New York, I mean, he was definitely one of the greatest managers in baseball. But for the Yankees, I mean, he played second base for the Yankees back in the 50s during the heyday. Then he managed in Detroit, Minnesota, Oakland. But really, when he was in New York, he really got connected with the fans out there. Talk about the fans in the New York area when he was managing.
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that he was one of the greatest there was. And of course, I certainly believe that. If it wasn't for the fans, nobody could do what they do. And so he had a way of making them feel that everybody was friends without being friends. In other words, I don't know you, but you're my friend. And I'm going to bring you into this wonderful game of baseball. And he just had a way of he could talk to anybody. I've said that to many people, no matter who it was. And he loved people. And then he loved younger people. He loved younger athletes. And so, what he did to bring these ball players together, to have some of the outcomes that they did, he lives it every day.
That's right. And, this show is very interactive. If you want to join in, please do at 727-441-3000. Some people are watching and listening on tantalknetwork.com, AM 1340, AM 1350, AM 1400, and 106.1. And I believe we have a caller there. Gil from New York. You're listening to Jill Martin and our show. Do you have a question for Jill?
Oh, yeah, it's an honor to talk. Billy was the best. Billy should be in the Hall of Fame. I can't tell you how great of a manager he was in every place. I mean, besides New York, he saved baseball in Oakland. Billy Ball, he was in Time Magazine. You go to Smithsonian, you see Billy. He was a great personality. The fans in New York loved him. They related to him. And I can tell you something. I am appalled that he's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you so much for your kind words, and I wish and believe that he should be there as well, and maybe someday that will happen. He loved his time in New York. It really probably was, he enjoyed himself in many places: Oakland, Texas, Detroit, Minnesota, but he loved New York, and so it's where he grew up. It's where he became a man, where he became a professional baseball player. And thank you for saying what you said.
Yeah, I think we have somebody else backstage, Dave from New York. Jill, you're bringing out all the New Yorkers here tonight.
Oh, great.
Dave, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me, Steve?
Yes. You're on the line with Jill Martin and my co-host, Miriam Putnam here.
Hey, how are you both? It's a pleasure to speak to everyone. Jill, how are you?
Thank you, Dave. You have a question for Jill?
Yeah, I do. Well, it's more, somewhat of a question. I was just like your previous caller, Gil. I loved Billy Martin. Loved watching him. I miss him. Maybe not as much as you do, but we all miss him a lot because he was a New Yorker through and through. And we love the passion that he brought to every game. I'm just wondering if and you've probably had these questions before, but I would love to see Billy Martin managing today's game, because I think he would change the game back. I think because he was so revered as a field manager that they would give him basically the keys to the game, where they've taken that away from a lot of the managers today. It's really good to see Buck Showalter being hired by the Mets, because he's kind of a Billy disciple and he's an old school guy. So the Mets get it. The Mets understand that you still need a field general there. But I think a lot of people would think Billy maybe wouldn't want to manage that. I think he'd probably love it, because I think he would probably look to undo all the analytics that, the game has just become so analytical. He would use that information, but he would still do things his way. I just want to kind of get your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't that be fun? You have any suggestions?
Yeah. The only thing bad about it would be, he wouldn't be able to argue as much because of all the video replays. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, well, you know what? I think that, he had a way to adapt to many things, like I said. Mm-hmm. And I think that he would have just taken, sat back and for, a moment and, taken, surmised the situation. And I think that he would have done fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think, people would have enjoyed him. I think, he always said what he thought. We have a tough media. But I think we had a tough media back then. You have a tough media now. So in our shoes, I don't think that much has changed. But I don't know. Anybody's guess. I think that he loved the game so much, and I think he would have been successful no matter what he did or where he went. That was just, the man that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Thank you. Great show.
Thank you so very much. So, Jill, when you hear these fans talk, it probably brings you back, but also you had a career in photography. You work with horses. Explain to everybody what you've done and what you continue to do, and share your passion with the folks out there.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for, when these people do talk about him, it just makes your heart sing. And I'm so grateful that people remember him and respect him. But I met him a very long time ago, and I was a stringer for Associated Press, and trying to get my photography career started, and I came from a large family in Southern California, and who were very much involved with professional athletics. My father and my uncle were strong financial supporters of scores of athletes. And my uncle eventually became vice president of the Los Angeles Rams. And that was just an incredible door opener for me and a boost for my photography career. And I was very fortunate to have that kind of access. that was back in the day when they were just allowing women to be, in the locker rooms and the clubhouses. And so that's how I met him. And, went on to do a great deal of photographic work for him and several other clubs and for the New York Post and a few other newspapers. And then after he died, I just kind of didn't want to pick up a camera for a while. To part of that. So I went back into riding my horses and competing. And so I showed on the horse circuit for probably, a good 15 years. And then I had an amazing opportunity to go to work for a company called Live Nation, who runs a great many concerts throughout our globe. And I was house photographer for one of their venues and doing all their concert work. And I have to tell you, it was the greatest job I've ever had. So I did that for about 10 years and lived up north. Continued a little bit with my riding. I bred some of my horses. I remarried to a wonderful man, and we're living down in Florida, and life is good. I can't complain. We've survived all of this illness, and I'm very grateful that the Yankees are going to have Old Timers Day again this year at the end of July. A lot of us ladies are on kind of I guess you'd call it a text chat. So we communicate fairly regularly as to what we're doing in our lives, and we're all very excited. It'll be a wonderful time to see everybody again.
That's great. Well, we have a surprise guest for you, and she's actually a friend of mine I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to give it away. Let's bring in that surprise guest for Jill right now. Are you there?
I am here.
Do you know that voice, Jill?
Is that you, Gigi? It is. How are you? Jill? Yeah, no, I just saw you a couple weeks ago for a wonderful lunch.
Oh my gosh. And by the way, her husband is a wonderful man.
Yes. And just via, we're on the radio here live, Gigi. We're also on Streamline, on live stream. Gigi plays Dinah Munson in the play Bat Boy, but you've been friends with Jill for a number of years now. Gigi, talk about your friendship with Jill.
So Jill and I met a few years ago at, it's got to be like 7 years ago at the Old Timers Day. And then every year since, we got a little bit, we talked a little bit and then became very close. She had her sister there one year. We really hit it off. And then I have a place down here in Florida, which I am still at. And we have lunch every year. She's got this wonderful, beautiful horse ranch, stables, and it's magnificent, clean and beautiful. And it's so impressive if you see it. Our house is beautiful. We sit there and we talk Yankee stories and Billy stories for hours. Do we not, Jill?
Yeah. and Jill, your friendship with Gigi, I know the play Bat Boy, Gigi kind of nails it when she performs up on stage, Raina Grown's story. Talk about your friendship with Gigi.
Well, first of all, I'm so grateful to have her with us tonight. And also, I have not seen that play yet, you guys. I need to go see it.
You need to go see it, right, Gigi?
Yes, I do.
You do.
Yes, I do.
Yes. If it wasn't for COVID, I'm sure we would have been closer to you in Florida, but someday.
Someday soon. Let's hope. And we're supposed to be trying to get over to Tampa too before all this thing ended, huh?
Yeah, and then we can have spring training. We're going to a game together. We still will do that, Jill. I promise.
All right.
Soon, right.
All right, Gigi, thank you so much for calling, and we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Gigi.
Love you, Jill.
All right, I'll see you soon. Love you, sweetheart.
Bye, honey.
So, Jill, it's not just, as you can see, the people out there, you don't have to be a baseball fan because off the field, you've connected with so many people, through baseball, through the work that you do. It's inspiring. And to hear you talk about your excitement about Old Timers Day coming back again and to hear your excitement. we do a little segment called New York Minute. And I want you to play along here, if you would. I'm going to throw out a name or something, and you tell me a really little story about it. You want to play?
Sure.
Okay. You ready, Jill?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's George Steinbrenner.
One of the greatest guys that we ever had that was in New York. For sure.
Okay. Let's Ray Negrone.
Absolutely hilarious. I love him to death. And he goes back a long way with Billy and so many of Billy's friends. And he's been very, very kind to me.
Wow, he is a funny guy, and he makes everybody laugh. But you know what's great about Ray, too?
Yes, he does.
He gives back in the community in a big way, and that's the heart of gold. I'm so glad that you guys are friends. It's great. Diana Munson.
I'm sorry?
Diana Munson.
Oh, my sister. My mentor, my friend. I spoke to her I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I think she got this horrible COVID and she was just recuperating from it. Heart of gold, she's just a wonderful person. I can't wait to see her.
Okay. Helen Hunter.
Absolutely wonderful. She lives in the Carolinas and always a pleasure to, this group of women that we have, unfortunately you have to get there because, your spouse has left you. But we really have quite a unity going, and very kind, very giving, very religious, loves God, has an amazing family, a real joy. That's a good woman.
Kay Mercer.
Beautiful Kay, who, keeps us all laughing and smiling, and she has so much love in her heart. She's an amazing, very, very bright, intelligent woman. She should write a book.
That's right. How about Mickey Mantle? I know Billy hung out with him, and I'm sure you spent some time with Mickey as well.
Well, as I think I told Ray one night, people say, what can you say about Mickey Mantle that hasn't already been said? So I told him and a bunch of people one evening that he was the best man at my wedding.
There we go. And the last question, photo art by Jill. Talk about that so people know what you do.
Oh, that's really nice. Well, you have to have a name for the things that you do and work at. I love my photography, and right now I'm in a massive editing stage of just taking everything that I've done and trying to put it where it's supposed to go. And I'm working on a photojournalistic book of kind of the things that I've done with Billy, things that I do today. I love it. And that's just the name of what I do, is Photo Art by Jill.
Well, Jill Martin, thank you so very much for joining. And I know, Miriam, I kind of took over there, but what do you think about Jill Martin?
Jill's very impressive. It was great. What an awesome end to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry we didn't get to chat.
No, it's okay. I'm sure we will catch up at one point, and it was very awesome to listen to all the stories.
Well, thank you. And you know what? You guys are so wonderful to remember Billy. And, it just keeps his memory alive. And I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
Well, Jill, thank you so much. It's a blessing to have you on, and I'm so thankful that we're friends. And I'll see you at Old Timers Day. How's that?
Yeah, soon, huh? All right. Thanks so much, you guys. You have a wonderful night, okay?
All right, Jill, thank you so very much. But, Miriam, we have the Ruth Eckerd Hall right down the road, and they're looking for people. They're looking to hire people. Let's check out behind the scenes working at the Ruth Eckerd Hall.
This is the most amazing place to work. I love my coworkers. I love my bosses. I love the gift of art that we bring to the kids and help them to, reach their potential.
I retired in law enforcement, retired from the military, but I've never seen any organization in my entire life where people will come together for one sole purpose. No egos, everybody works together for the patrons to put on a show. It is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
I've been coming here since I was 4, and I never thought I'd actually get a chance to work here. It's an exciting job. You have lots of new experiences. It's not the same every day, and you get to help people have a great time.
One thing I really value about working at Ruth Eckerd Hall is the opportunity for professional and personal growth. And I find that the management here is really looking out for everyone's individual capabilities and development while they're here with the company.
The leadership team, I feel, values every employee, respects, recognition is a big part of everything that we do.
I think that people are surprised that we have such a reach in the community.
It's really welcoming. Everybody is a family. It's a great place to work because everybody is like a member of the team and a member of the family.
Family, without a doubt. Closest thing, it's not like working because you're working with family that you love.
Everyone's a family, I feel like, here, and I love it here. And being furloughed during COVID and getting a chance to work somewhere else, I realized how much I love it here, and I want to retire here.
Ruth Eckerd Hall in the Capitol Theater. Have you seen a show there recently, Miriam?
It's been a little while. I was just thinking that when I was looking at the, I was thinking, wow, I really need to go there.
Well, you got to go. I saw 2 shows there last week. I saw Foreigner.
Oh my gosh, that's right. You told me.
I'm a big Foreigner fan, and I'm a big Frankie Valli fan, thanks to Robbie Robinson. And we're going to have a little segment in a few moments. But there's a couple of shows coming up at the Ruth Eckerd Hall and the Capitol Theater. Janice Ian will be at the Capitol Theater on Thursday, March 31st, which is tomorrow night. Drew Beldridge and Chase Bryant will be at Sims Park on April 2nd. Henry Winkler, you like Happy Days, right? The Fonz?
Of course.
He'll be at the Capitol Theater, a night of great stories, Q&A, and more. You got to check out the Fonz. So maybe that's the show to go to. You know, check him out. Night Ranger will be at Sims Park on April 3rd. Livingston Taylor and Tom Chapin will be at the Capitol Theater on April 3rd. One Night in Memphis, a #1 tribute to Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash and Jerry Lee Lewis at the Ruth Eckerd Hall on Sunday, August 3rd. You can get your tickets by calling 727-712-2717, or you can go online, rutheckerdhall.net. A lot of great shows. You got to get yourself there, Miriam.
There you go, Steve, and our listeners. Now they know it. Anyone who's living down here in this area, now they know.
That's right. Now you know. So you see how this show goes. There's a lot of great guests. There's a lot of great things going on. Yeah. And we're doing advocacy too. And I think that's the bottom line. That's the thread throughout the whole show. And I want to thank you for us teaming together right now. This is our first show together. And those are all the shows at the Capitol Theater and at the Ruth Eckerd Hall. If you take a quick snapshot of that, you got to check it out. Check out Bobby Ross, who does a great job there, and all those shows. You got to check out one of those, Miriam. Pick 1 or 2 out, will you?
Right,
so
exactly.
We'll go. We'll have to all go.
There we go.
That's right. But you know what? Frankie Valli just performed there last week. He had 2 shows, the 18th and 19th of March. And his musical director, Robbie Robinson, is one of the greatest keyboardist players in the world. He's been with Frankie Valli for 44 years. Robbie has his own record label, Robbie's Records, and he has a little segment that he wants us to hear. Let's check out Robbie Robinson Radio right now on the Chapters Out Wednesday Night Live.
Perfect.
And now a man who has learned after all these years that big girls do cry, Robbie Robinson.
Hey, Paul Shaver, thank you so much for that super cool introduction. And welcome everybody to show number 3 of Robbie's Records Radio. And my name is Robbie Robinson. I am the keyboard player, Hammond organist, music director, conductor for Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons since 1978. And this morning for our first song, we're going to go in the Wayback Machine. So let's go back to the early 80s. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons touring for 2.5 years together with the iconic Motown group, the Four Tops. And oh, what a tour that was. They closed their segment of the show every night with the iconic song, Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch. And as soon as they went into that opening phrase, ba-ba-doo-da, ba-doo-da-da, ba-doo-da, the entire audience would jump up on their feet and start dancing. And I have always loved that song. So then we fast forward a little bit, and I get the opportunity to produce the first album for a young lady, a dear friend of mine named Alex Nestor. I used to do a lot of kids' records, and I started working with Alex Nestor when she was literally 9 years old, and she made dozens of records for me doing kids' stuff. Well, it didn't take me long to figure out that this young lady was a star in the making. Well, of course, she did grow up and become a star. She now tours all over the world. She's made many, many records, and I am privileged and honored to say that I knew her when. And when we were putting the songs together for her first record, I remembered those days of touring with the Four Tops and them singing Sugar Pie Honey Bunch every night and the crowd going crazy. So I knew that we had to do that song, but then I thought we should take it one step better. Why not get the Four Tops to sing background for Alex's record? So I called up my buddies, Duke and Obi from the Four Tops, and they were super cool to come out and sing the backgrounds for their iconic song with this young teenager. Now, Alex Nestor was still a teenager when we recorded this record. So, folks, this is absolutely historic. Alex Nestor and the Four Tops singing Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch.
Well, you know, Sugar Pie was Sugar Pie. Oh, she's a nice girl, boy. She's a nice girl. I hear what you do.
I'll love you and nobody else. In and out my life, come and you go. Leaving just your picture behind. I can still 1,000 times. When you tip your finger and wink your eye, I come running to you. I try to tear away from the string. And there's nothing that I can do. Can't help myself. No, I can't help myself. Sugar pie, honey bunch. Sugar pie, weaker than I should be. I can't help myself. I'm a fool in love, you see. Wanna tell you I don't love you, tell you we're through, and I've tried. But every time I see your face, I get all choked up inside. When I call your name, boy, it starts to flame. Burning in my heart, tearing all apart. No matter how much I love, I cannot hide. Sugar pie, honey bunch. Sugar pie, you know that I'll wait for you. I can't help myself. I love you and nobody else. Sugar pie, honey bunch. Sugar pie, do anything you ask me to. Can't help myself. No, I cannot help myself.
Are you still dancing? Now that's from the Alex Nestor CD, Rattle the Walls, available on all music platforms. Now, anybody that knows me knows that my Christian faith is super important to me. And like Johann Sebastian Bach, I like to give credit to the Lord for everything that I do. And one of the things that I do is write songs, and I like to write songs about the Lord. This next song that we're going to play for you is yet another collaboration with that young, talented genius, Sarah Nimitz. But it's also a collaboration with somebody who's very close to me, and that is my wife, Carla. Now, this is the very first song that Carla has ever written, and it's a pretty darn good song, if I do say so myself. So here it is, There Is Joy, sung by Sarah Nimitz, written by Sarah Nimitz, Carla Robinson, and Robbie Robinson, and I hope that this brings you joy, this brings you peace.
There is joy in His mercy. There is joy in His love. There is joy in His forgiveness. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. There is peace in the Savior. There is peace in His love. There is peace in the Redeemer. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. When I'm tossed and driven by the cares of this world, I remember I'm forgiven, and my soul doesn't fear anymore. Now I'm asking your mercy, your glory, and your forgiveness. They still love. There is joy in His mercy. There is joy in His love. There is joy in His forgiveness. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Ooh. While we yet were sinners, Jesus paid the price. He set us free from darkness into eternal life. Now I'm asking your mercy, your glory, and your forgiveness. They still love. There is peace in the Savior. There is peace in His love. There is peace in the Redeemer. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. There's joy in His mercy. There is joy, sweet joy in His love. There is joy in His forgiveness. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. There is joy. There is joy. There is joy.
Amen. Amen. There is joy. Well, let me tell you about Robbie's Records just for a minute. Through the decades, I've been recording, writing, and producing a lot of music. And a few months ago, we started Robbie's Records as an outlet, as a way to get this music out to the world. And I am thoroughly enjoying this opportunity to sit here and talk to you and play some of these songs just for you. And all of Robbie's Records songs are going to be available on Spotify, Amazon, all of the platforms that you listen to your music on. And come over to RobbieRobinsonMusic.com, RobbieRobinson music.com to find out anything about Robbie's Records or anything else I'm doing musically, whether it be touring or whatever. All right, everybody, are you ready to go on an adventure? Robbie's musical adventure, Robbie's Beethoven adventure. Now, I have always loved, revered Ludwig van Beethoven, and this is my tribute to the great master. Now, as you listen to this, see how many Beethoven songs you can identify. All right, everybody, strap on your seatbelts. Let's go on an adventure from the Robinson Brothers EP, Robbie's Beethoven Adventure. From the Robinson Brothers EP, that was Robbie's Beethoven Adventure. Man, what a band we had for that record. And what a joy it is to spend some time with you and play you some of my songs. Don't forget to check us out at RobbieRobinsonMusic.com. And until the next time, I will see you later. God's big blessings to each and every one of you.
I was born with a hearing loss myself, but I wasn't diagnosed until I was about 2.5. Of course, yes, it was hard growing up and, coming from an entertainment background. My family, the Osmond family, which 7 members of my family wear hearing aids too. So it runs in my family. I took 15 years of speech therapy. I had to learn how to talk. I mean, it's not easy. He decided to fit me with a CIC, which is completely in the canal. And with that, my hearing has gotten better, and my understanding level has gone up. So the quality of hearing aids, especially with the technology nowadays, has not only helped me to hear better, but understand better. So I'm hearing better in group conversations when it's loud. It's been able to cut out background noise. I can focus on people I'm communicating with. I am very grateful that I can be able not to hear but understand. I've learned that closeness is a matter of communication. So if you want to draw close to someone, you got to communicate with them. If you want to communicate with someone, you got to have to understand them. And if you want to understand someone, you got to hear.
Wow. I mean, Justin Osmond, Robbie Robinson, Justin Osmond, he does great work for the Olive Osmond Hearing Fund. And Debbie Mayford is going to join us real quickly on the show because she has a big event coming up in July. Debbie, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. Say hello to Miriam, my co-host tonight. And
hi.
together we advocate, but you advocate as well. Share with our viewers and listeners out there what you do, Debbie.
So we hold, I'm the executive director for the Olive Osmond Hearing Fund, the New York chapter, and we raise money and awareness to get kids hearing aids that couldn't otherwise afford them. New York State insurance companies are not mandated to cover the cost of hearing aids. So an average pair of hearing aids could cost about $8,000, and many families do not have that money to get their kids hearing aids. So that's where we come in.
And you've been doing this for a couple of years now, but talk about why you do it on a personal level, but working with Justin Osmond as well.
So I've been doing it since 2015. That was the year we held our first event. In 2014, our son, my middle son, Kyle, he needed hearing aids. And at the time, we couldn't afford them, and our insurance didn't cover them. So I was coincidentally at that time reading a book by Maria Osmond. And in the book, she talked about her older brothers, Tom and Verl, that were both born deaf, and how the Osmonds formed their family band because their parents needed to buy hearing aids for their kids, and they didn't have the money for it. So very few people know that's how the Osmond family got started, all because they needed to raise money for hearing aids for their brothers. And then fast forward, I reached out to the foundation to see if maybe I could get aid to help my son get hearing aids, because they started a foundation in Marie and Donnie's mother's name, Olive Osmond. So we reached out to the foundation, and we were able to get hearing aids within a few months for my son. So then when it came time for their next yearly gala, they had invited us, and we went and we met the Osmonds, and we just hit it off with them and decided, you know what, we're going to stop paying it forward, and we'll start raising funds to get other kids hearing aids. And now, 7 years later, here we are running a New York chapter for them here.
Well, you do amazing work, and we're just about out of time. I just wanted you to introduce yourself to everybody in our audience out there. How can people get tickets or contact you for further information?
So all the information is on our website, www.hearingfund.org, and there's a tab on there, New York chapter, and all the information will be there.
Debbie Mayford, thank you so very much. And we're going to live broadcast it there July 14th from the Chateau Beyond. So some of you Florida folks have to come up north and check out the work with the Olive Osmond Hearing Fund does. God bless, Debbie. Thank you so much.
That sounds like a very exciting event. Thank
Yes,
you so much for what you're doing, Debbie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Miriam, you're going to have to come to you're going to have to see a show at the Ruth Eckerd Hall now and come to New York for this event. But what song are we going home with? We have a special song, right?
Yeah, we are. We're going to end with Jierra's song.
Yes. Well, Miriam, thank you so very much. Thank you for your listeners out there and the viewers. Another 2 hours have gone just like that. So God bless you, Miriam.
Yeah, and you as well. Thank you so much for what you're doing and helping people. It's fantastic, Steve.
All right. Let's check it out. This new song.
We are not going anywhere. Can you feel us now? We ain't backing down. No, we won't turn around. Now you see the Fringe Minority. Can you hear the sound? Rising to the crowd. Yes, sing it loud and proud. Now you see the Fringe Minority. Now you see the Fringe Minority. Now you see the Fringe Minority. After taking everything we had, now we're gonna take it back. Everybody watching as we take a stand. And you thought that you could take us out. Now we're gonna take it down. It's the final act. Better take a bow. Can you hear the voices? Can you hear the voices? And now you should know that we are not going anywhere. Can you feel us now?
WTAN Clearwater,
FM 106.1,
WDCF Dade City,
FM